Welcome everybody to Diaspora Wire TV. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our old and new subscribers for subscribing. Thank you for watching our show and liking our videos. We really do appreciate it. Okay, let's get into our topic. Ethiopia, Africa's second largest or most populated country, roughly about 115, maybe 112 million people, 80 ethnic groups, and a very young prime minister, Abiy Ahmed, became prime minister. The country is in conflict right now over a war that has happened roughly almost about, in November of 2021, it'll be 1 year since the war or the conflict happened in Ethiopia. But the war has taken on so much of different forms and different shapes. And there is now ethnic cleansing. There is now sexual violence that is committed by both Ethiopian and Eritrean military troops. So let's get into this. But before we get into the meat part of the story, which is about Lalibela. Yes, Lalibela, Ethiopia's Tigray rebels take UNESCO World Heritage town. But it's more than just a UNESCO heritage site. For people who are familiar with Lalibela, it is more so a holy site, a very sacred site. But we'll get into that a little bit later when we get to this point. But what I wanted to give you all is the backstory of why the war in Ethiopia is happening, which is pretty much like many other wars in Africa, a little bit crazy. And it's all about political power. All right. So let me give you the backstory. So let's go back up to our slides so we can bring you some images. So as you know, as I was mentioned earlier, Abiy Ahmed became prime minister in 2018 at the age of 41 years. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019 for making peace with Eritrea after 20 years of conflict. I mean, he made good on some of his promises that he kept with the people, and he put it into action. So this man won the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing Eritrea and Ethiopia together after a 20-year conflict. And I think that this is pretty much a good thing for the country and for both the countries, for both economies, things of that nature, because Ethiopia is thus far, when he became president, it's an emerging economy, and it's beneficial for the country and for Eritrea as well. All right, but this peace agreement or peace treaty that Ethiopia made with Eritrea after 20 years of conflict, peace treaty was good, but this very peace made the political opposition very upset, which is the Tigray People's Liberation Front, who they are fighting as of now, as of today. So the Tigray, who resides in northern, if you can see my map right here, they reside in the northern region of Tigray, and has had conflict with Eritrea. Obviously, over the past 20 years, the Tigray has had conflict with Eritrea over the past 20 years as well. And so they were pissed off that the prime minister made peace with Eritrea, trying to calm the conflict, trying to stop the conflict, because whenever you have conflict, there's no winners. There's no winners in conflict. So the Tigray People's Liberation Front was upset that the prime minister wanted to make peace with their enemies, but the Tigray didn't want to make peace with their enemies. So they was pissed off and upset about this. So in 2020, there was supposed to be regional elections. And these regional elections were supposed to be held, but the prime minister postponed them due to COVID-19 in the country. But the Tigray TPLF, Tigray's People Liberation Front, went ahead and did their own elections anyway. Now, the elections were for parliamentary elections. So they went ahead and did their own elections anyway, and then their party won. So that is quite Jesus Christ. So their party won the elections, and when their party won the elections, the prime minister went ahead and said, no, these elections are not valid. They're not legal. Then the government threatened to cut funds from the northern Tigray region. You know, the elections were not valid. They didn't agree with it. So obviously it's a big conflict of sovereignty, but it's parliamentary elections. So parliamentary elections are usually all across the country where you're winning or you're running for seats in parliament for that particular party against the opposition. But if the opposition is not ready to run elections, then there's no one to oppose the win. So of course the TPLF is going to win the parliamentary elections if there's not a candidate to oppose it because of COVID. So the government says, no, we can't have that. So in retaliation to that, TPLF then attacked, allegedly, we have to say allegedly attacked a military base. And Abiy Ahmed then retaliated by sending military troops into the Tigray region, and on top of that, received help from Eritrea. You see how the peace deal and the peace treaty paid off for the prime minister in Ethiopia, making that 20-year conflict dead, and asked for the help of the Eritrea forces to come into the northern region to put a stop to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which is now considered a rebel group or what have you. But at the same time, the president or the prime minister is being ridiculed and being criticized by not just opponents, but even the international community, because it seems like now the prime minister is also Tigray, and it seems like he has had a vendetta against TPLF because they have been ruling that region for so long. It's their base, it's their ethnic group, and they have always won in that area. So it seems like this seems to be a particular vendetta that the prime minister is being accused of for having like a personal vendetta against this particular Tigray group and Tigray in the northern region. Okay, so let's get back to the slide. So now the ruler of this TPLF is this man right here. His name is Gebre Michael. And Gebre Michael, he is not standing down against Abiy Ahmed, and he's going to continue to continue the conflict because the conflict has gotten worse. Like I said, there has been a lot of people that have fled. A lot of people, 1.7 million people has been displaced because of the conflict that is happening. And as well as 63 million people is fleeing to Sudan. Even earlier today, I read an article about how 30 bodies was floating down the Nile River from Ethiopia into Sudan. So this conflict is getting really bad. The international community, meaning the UN and the US and all the other allies and members of the UN, is considering this war on ethnic cleansing and genocide. And like I said earlier, horrific sexual violence has been happening against women and children and vulnerable people. And most of the sexual violence is being committed by the government troops, meaning Eritrea and Ethiopian troops as well. So it is so unfortunate what is happening there. But unfortunately, this is war. And so let's get to the piece of Lalibela. So Lalibela, as we all know, the Tigray fighters it's been reported that Tigray fighters captured or seized control of Lalibela. Now, Lalibela, there is the 11 churches that were built 900 years ago in Lalibela, in the town of Lalibela. And so the residents of Lalibela usually hear gunfighting from afar. But then not only did they start hearing gunfighting from afar, but they also started seeing Tigray troops who had on different military uniforms than the Ethiopian troops or the Eritrean troops, and they would speak in Tigray. So in this region, in Lalibela, I believe it is the Amhara people who reside in this town, but they noticed that these troops were not military troops for the Ethiopian or the Eritrean army, but they were Tigray People's Liberation Front soldiers or troops that came in and overtook the town. And so these churches, again, they are considered holy sites. It is home to the 11 ancient churches that were carved out of rock. Let's go to our slide here. Carved out of rock about 900 years ago. We know the holy sites are considered the New Jerusalem and home of millions to Christians and Ethiopian Orthodox Christians as well. Like I said, some residents fled the town of Lalibela, and the Tigray fighters arrived. Also, not only did the people fled, but also the local military that was there in Lalibela from Ethiopia has also fled as well. Military and the local government officials fled Lalibela as well. So as you can see that in the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which are now considered rebels, are growing, and they are overtaking certain regions in Ethiopia. So, and these regions also include, if I'm not mistaken, I will try to bring up the map again, if you can see. I know it's a little small, but let me bring it up for you all again. So it's regions, the Tigray Liberation Front is also moving into Afar region and the Amhara region. So these regions, which should be on the map right there, as you can see, these regions are, the conflict is spreading, and it is beginning to push out Eritrean and Ethiopian military, and the president is now calling for the international community to step in because it is getting worse there. And so here are some facts about Lalibela churches. If you did not know, now you know. So as I mentioned, there are 11, I don't know why they call them medieval. I don't think they're evil, but monolithic churches in Lalibela carved out of rock. They date from the 12th century and the 13th century. As I mentioned earlier today, they are holy sites. They were built as a substitute for pilgrimage to the Holy Land, which was unreachable at the time. I'm not sure if that's even true, because we know in the Bible there was an Ethiopian eunuch who came to Jerusalem. So, or maybe perhaps like a large group of people wasn't able to travel at that time. Who knows? But anyways, so it is considered, Lalibela is considered a holy site, the New Jerusalem, for many Christians, whether they're just it doesn't matter what denomination you are. A lot of people who believe in the faith do travel there. The churches were designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 1978. They are tended to be, they're tended by priests of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo Church. And so, and there's more information. TPLF was the regional government of Tigray. They were the regional government of Tigray, but until it was ousted by the federal government last November, that is again when Abiy Ahmed, the prime minister, said that the elections were invalid and no more funds will be given to them. So they are considered a rebel group now, declared by the government of Ethiopia. It has been designated as a terrorist group. They have been designated as a terrorist organization by the Ethiopian government. Now they're a terrorist organization. However, the rebels say that they are the legitimate regional government of Tigray. And earlier this week, a rebel general told the BBC that the group aimed to force the federal government to lift a blockade in the region and agree to a political solution to the crisis. I hope they do come to a political solution, because this, honestly, the truth of the matter is, this is all about political power. Abiy Ahmed, the prime minister of Ethiopia, he does have a vendetta against the TPLF, but it doesn't make it right for the TPLF to conflict to the point to where the conflict is getting out of hand. This is also dealing with ethnic groups, conflicts that goes back, and I'm not surprised if it goes back centuries, a couple of hundred centuries. Where this group is, well, I don't even know, because you have the president who's Tigray, and then you have it's like Ethiopia is fighting itself, pretty much. The prime minister is fighting against his own people, and the Tigray People's Liberation Front is fighting against their own self. And so it is, I honestly had high potentials for Ethiopia, because when I heard about this young prime minister, when he came into power, I was thrilled, and I had intentions of going to Lalibela and to the holy sites and to visiting and just to participate in that pilgrimage. But unfortunately, we cannot do that. I can't do it. It is unsafe. So I am praying for Ethiopia, that they settle this conflict and that they come to a ceasefire, or there be a ceasefire, because a lot of times when we have these wars and conflicts and then those conflicts spread across the country and becomes ethnic cleansing and another sexual violence against women and young girls. It's like Rwanda repeating itself all over again. So this is for political power again. And I pray that Ethiopia can get over this atrocity. So I just wanted to bring you all this information update, and I'll keep you updated on what's going on in Ethiopia. It is so unfortunate about Lalibela being a holy site for many millions of Christians. But I pray that Ethiopia gets through this, and we will keep you all updated on more things that are going on, and hopefully that these sites will not get destroyed. I pray that the Tigray people do not destroy the sites, and we will see what happens. All right, I bid you all a blessed evening and a good night. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our videos, and to comment on our videos as well. Have a great evening and have a great night. God bless.